They've been silent until now.
Something's got to happen here.
I just wanted it to be over.
In the days leading up to Thanksgiving, something major was happening in New York. Big names in the entertainment industry hit with sex abuse lawsuits dating back decades.
People don't have to live in the shadows any longer.
The statute of limitations was lifted for a year, allowing people to sue their abusers no matter when the abuse happened. Over 3,000 lawsuits later, the Shade Room is going through them and hearing from the victims.
My story deserves to be told.
I'm Justin Carter. This is TSR Investigates. It was an all or nothing chance when New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed the Adult Abuse Survivors Act into law last year. Hospitals, government agencies, even prisons were suddenly named in bombshell sex abuse lawsuits. Celebrities too, including Jamie Foxx, Cuba Gooding Jr., Russell Brand, Bill Cosby, and Sean Combs, who have all profusely denied these allegations.
When it came to sexual assault, our laws were protecting the abusers more.
Because prior to 2019, sex abuse survivors generally had 1 year to file a civil case in court.
And that's why we've changed them going forward.
It's why legislators have been tightening up the laws when it comes to sex abuse cases in New York. In the last 12 months, those 18 and up who claim to be victims of sex abuse in the state had a one-time chance to file a civil lawsuit no matter when the alleged abuse happened. Alexandria Johnson says the unthinkable happened to her while she was serving time in prison in Rikers Island. She says that she was raped by 4 corrections officers in 2014. Then a year later, she says she was raped again when she was 4 months pregnant.
My water broke at 11:30 at night the day after I was raped. And it took them an hour and 45 minutes. I laid down in the hospital. They did the strip tests.
She lost her baby that night. She named him Marcus.
I feel like he's just been forgotten. He had to die in the hospital all alone. Nothing's been done for him.
Mia Wheeler told ABC News that she too was sexually assaulted by a prison guard at the Bedford Hills Correctional Facility in New York when she was in her 20s.
He would walk past my cube if nobody was there and it was a mealtime. He would come in and peek in and say, hey, you know what time it is.
What did he mean by that?
That it was time to have sex or time for me to perform a sex act on him.
She says filing a lawsuit is the first time she's felt heard, although attorneys representing the state of New York and New York City have denied the allegations and want these cases dismissed, as do a number of celebrities and prominent figures that have been named in various lawsuits under the Adult Survivors Abuse Act. More than 3,700 cases filed in state court in that 1 year window. 2 of those lawsuits named hip-hop mogul Sean P. Diddy Combs as a defendant. According to NBC News, one woman claims that she and a friend met Combs and Aaron Hall, who was a member of the R&B group called Guy. They met them at an event in 1991. The suit alleges, quote, that Combs and Hall were very flirtatious and handsy and offered them drinks throughout the event. Towards the end of the night, Combs and Hall invited them back to Hall's apartment for an after party where they were coerced into having sex with Combs. It goes on to say Hall then allegedly barged into the room, pinned her down, and forced her to have sex with him. In a statement, a spokesperson for Combs wrote, quote, that these are fabricated claims falsely alleging misconduct from over 30 years ago and filed at the last minute. This is nothing but a money grab. Because of Mr. Combs' fame and success, he is an easy target for anonymous accusers who lie without conscience or consequence for financial benefit. The New York legislature surely did not intend or expect the Adult Survivors Act to be exploited by scammers. The public should be skeptical and not rush to accept these bogus allegations, end quote. A spokesman for Hall did not immediately respond for comment, but he was vocal about his previous sexual encounters in an interview with Vlad TV in the past.
Like, you speak to Jodeci or Puffy or any of them, they've been at my house, they all see me, they all know I'm a big.
A spokesperson for Hall did not immediately respond for a comment. Of course, this all on the heels of that federal lawsuit filed by R&B singer Cassie earlier this month. It was all settled out of court 1 day after it was filed.
it just broke my heart because it takes so much for any survivor of abuse to speak out.
The Shade Room sat down with a former federal prosecutor, Tammy Allison, who says that she saw this settlement coming based on how the lawsuit was filed.
It doesn't matter if we're talking about aviation, if we're talking about wrongful imprisonment, if it's a civil matter and it's brought before a federal district court, the very first thing that's looked at is the procedural compliance. I don't think I've ever seen a civil matter where that is proper to be brought before a federal district court.
Diddy is not alone. Among the rush of lawsuits filed, one was against Jamie Foxx. A woman claims that she asked him for a photo at a New York City rooftop bar in 2015. He then allegedly commented on her body, took her to another room, and she accuses him of groping her under her clothes. A representative for Fox says the incident, quote, never happened. And then there was Bill Cosby. A young writer for The Cosby Show says the comedian drugged her over 50 years ago when she was a teenager. She claims that she woke up to Cosby undressing her and forced her to perform oral sex on him.
It's okay for you not to be okay and to give voice to that.
I sat down with the famed TV judge Glenda Hatchett, who shared her survival story with us back in August. She was groped by a Georgia sheriff, Chris Cootie, at an event back in 2022.
He literally takes his hand and squeezes my left breast and then starts rubbing. And I was stunned. I was absolutely just stunned.
It took days for her to process what happened and eventually go to the authorities.
Justin, I think it is my responsibility to be very candid about what happened with me.
In the end, Cootie resigned. A judge gave him 12 months probation, a $500 fine, and 400 hours of community service.
Was really just a signal to people like me who are victims and people like me who don't have a platform that I have to be able to sound the alarm. And so if I get treated like that, what happens to other people?
We reached out to Cootie's attorney for a comment. We have not yet heard back, but it is important to note that these cases in New York are already playing out in the court system. For example, a jury in May found former President Donald Trump liable in the sexual abuse case involving writer E. Jean Carroll in 1996. She was awarded $5 million, although former President Donald Trump denied these allegations. Also, New York is one of several states revisiting laws that set time limits on civil sexual legal claims. California just came out with the Sexual Abuse and Cover-Up Accountability Act that now grants sex abuse victims to revisit their cases, and they have until December 2026 to file them. So, of course, this is far from over. We'll be following closely. For TSR Investigates, I'm Justin Carter. Hello, roommates, and thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Do you want more TSR Investigates? Be sure to subscribe and check us out at theshaderoom.com.